Game begin.
So today we have many people who want to work in the games industry who are watching right now, and that's why I would love to hear more about you. And basically I would love to start with a simple question. Who are you?
I'm Barbara. I'm the lead programmer at The Good Evil. We are a small indie game studio based in Cologne, currently 7 people, and we aim to make games that make the world a better place.
Nice, that sounds very interesting. So please tell me, like, how did you get there, or like what was your way into the games industry?
Yeah, so I always loved playing games when I was younger. My big brother kind of introduced me to it, and it was something I really liked. And when it came to finishing school, looking for something to study, I was looking through all the programs that were available, and I was kind of mixed between doing something with media or maybe publishing books. Something in that direction or going into the more technical direction. And then I saw that the University of Cologne had this media IT studies that were focusing on games a little bit. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. So that's where I went after school. And I did my bachelor's there and then also the master's in the same program. And during the end of my master's thesis, we also had to do an internship. So I went to Good Games in Hamburg, where I had a really nice internship as a QA tester, which to me felt like it really brought me forward and made me a better programmer, because I just had to shift my mindset completely. And then I don't know, most people maybe remember that Good Game had some issues where they had to let a lot of people go, and that was actually during my internship. So it was clear that they couldn't keep me on afterwards. So I came back to Cologne, and then worked at a small browser game startup for a while. And then they also had financial problems, and that's how I ended up at The Good Evil.
Okay, nice. That sounds like a yeah, like interesting journey. But can you maybe tell me, like, what exactly did you learn during the internship? Because you said like this was a very like impressive time for you, and because like there was like going into a company and out, like what exactly did you learn?
I think from the like the overall perspective, it was really nice to work at a big company to see how everything works. It was a massive amount of people working on one project, and there were a lot of meetings. I got to go to some of them, which was really interesting, and also I got to work on the same floor as all the developers, which again was really interesting to me. And then also from the like the just looking at my own programming journey, it was really interesting because when you program stuff, you usually tend to think about, okay, what do I want to accomplish and how do I do that? And then you program it, and then someone from QA comes and tests it in a way that you never intended it to, and then it breaks.
Oh.
And as a QA tester, you have to think about, okay, I know what's supposed to happen, but which ways might be possible to break it? What could users try who don't know the game, who don't know how it's intended? And so as a QA tester, you have to think about, how can I break this? And I think to me, spending 5 months about thinking, how can I break this, actually gave me that perspective when I now start to program something. I don't think about, okay, what do I want and how do I get there? But I also think about, how could this be broken by someone? And then I try to prevent that from the start, which I think makes, if it works and if I don't forget stuff, it makes the whole back and forth between programmer and QA a bit shorter and hopefully a bit less tedious for everyone.
Yeah. That's very like good to have this other perspective, right? Not just like the developer perspective, but also like the other side, and already implement that in the developing process. So yeah, that sounds like a valuable experience for sure. Cool. And maybe you could you describe how your usually daily work life looks like? Like what does a developer do on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, most of the days are actually quite different from each other because so many things happen. But like a general structure would be I come in, I check out if there's anything because we have kind of flexible working hours, so I'm leaving earlier than some other people, so work will get done while I'm away. So when I come in, I check if I missed anything, if maybe any new bugs came up that need immediate attention, or if there's like anything else urgent. If not, I will structure my day. I will check what needs to be done this week, what needs to be done today, and I kind of make myself an agenda for the day. And then at 10:15, when everyone is there, we have a small meeting with everyone. I mean, we're just 7 people, but still, we need to coordinate what everyone is doing, and maybe I need someone from someone else, and then we can discuss this. And
How do you do that?
also at
Like, how do you structure your day? Like, sorry for interrupting, but like, do
no
you use
problem.
any like tools or? Um,
Yes, so we use Shortcut at work. It used to be Clubhouse. It's basically a mixture of Jira and Trello. It can do a bit more than Trello, but it's not as overpowered as Jira. Um, so we have basically when we start a project, we do the planning and we have tasks for all the small steps. And on Mondays, we have a bigger meeting where we decide what needs to get done this week. And we put that in like this weekly board. So I have all the tasks there that I should accomplish in the week. And then each morning I check, okay, what can I get done today? And then I will move those cards that everyone else sees. Okay, Barbara is working on fixing 2 of the main bugs today, and then she will also write a new feature, and so that everyone just kind of knows what everyone else is doing.
nice.
Um, yeah, so at the stand up, we talk about that and we maybe speak about open questions that we have for each other so that we don't disturb each other during the day so much. But then because I wrote or me and the other programmer, we wrote all the tools that everyone else has to work during the day. There might be interruptions throughout the day if something is not working. So, I mean, in general, I hope there are no interruptions and I will just start coding on the stuff that I planned for the day, but then something will break and then I will get called over to someone else's computer to have a look at it. And then also on some days, if we just finished a project and something new is coming up, we will have small meetings to see, okay, we want to accomplish this for maybe a client or for a new project, and then we make a plan to see how long will it take, what are the technical difficulties, maybe do some pre-checks before to see if we can accomplish that with the technology we already have. Yeah, and then the rest of the day hopefully is spent programming stuff.
Okay, nice. Yeah, like it sounds like a lot of communication with the team. So like it seems like yeah, of course, like in every job, it's very important to be like communicative and like to talk with people. But yeah, at least like I thought, okay, as a developer, it might not be that important, but it sounds as it's like
It,
really hard. Yeah.
if if it's just a developer position, it's more programming, but since I'm the lead developer, I do have to do some of the like talking to other people from the company, sometimes answering emails from clients, then also checking out that the rest of the programming department is knows what to do. And so there with the lead position comes a bit more overhead to the programming stuff.
Yeah, 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 interesting. So, and of course, like as a lead developer, you also like you are responsible for employing like new stuff or like onboarding people on your team. So maybe for that, you could tell us like what is important to you or what are you looking for?
Yeah, so I am involved in the hiring process for my department, but I also take part in most of the other interviews.
Okay.
So even like the game designers or artists or I'm often part of those interviews. And I mean, right now it's different than before because we do most of them remotely, which is a whole other different thing. Like it's a whole new layer. You don't get to meet the people in person, which is a bit sad. But in general, like starting with the applications, yeah, it's a topic that is close to my heart because I get frustrated reading some of the applications we get. So, like especially, I think for like all three of them, artists, game design, and programming, if you've worked on a game before and you have the option to share it, please do. A lot of the time I get like video trailers or like just the description I worked on this game, but I don't get the game, which I think is really a missed opportunity in our line of work because we have playable things that we create. And I mean, yes, depending on where you send an application, if it's a big company, they might not check the game out. But like for me, if there's a game that is playable in an application, I will play it because I think that's such a good way to like see what the person has worked on. So please, please, if you apply somewhere, just and you have a game that you can share because it's not like bound by an NDA or something, please send it. And then
Share your
also,
games.
yes. And then also like it's a technical job, so I mean make sure that you have some technical understanding. Like for once we got someone who sent their Dropbox password to share their data with us, like they had a portfolio and they sent their Dropbox password. That's not a good thing. That's not really
Yeah.
like
Like the
the
behavior already can, like, yeah, shows
yeah.
that, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And also, I mean, one other thing that I notice often, like if you went to university or you have work experience, you don't need to include like your high school diploma, especially if you have not that great grades. So, I mean, no one cares, and it's just like if you apply for a technical position and you have like fours in all the, or like in English it would be C's and D's in all the technical subjects in school, it just doesn't look good. So if you have newer experience that you can share, just leave out the high school diploma because I
No
really
one
don't care
cares.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
And what
Yeah,
would
I
you
mean
love to
that's
see like in the CV? Like what like the structure? Can you maybe tell us like a little bit more about that? What are the key points which you're looking at if you have a CV in front of you?
I mean, there's not that much something that needs to be in there. I think it's just a matter of does it make sense? Like even if you switched like your university class around several times, I don't really mind if it like if you send in the cover letter that you send with it, if you explain what happened there, it's totally okay. Um, but yeah, just make sure it kind of makes sense as a whole there. It doesn't have to be like you didn't need to go to this school or have a game design class, or I don't need like five different jobs that you've worked at. It's just, it should make sense. And also, if you're applying for something like visually, like an artist or even game design, it should look good. Sometimes we get applications that look really interesting. That's also not like a good impression. I mean, if you're applying as a programmer, I don't really care how it looks, but if it's more on the artistic side, it should also yeah, look the part, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because like it's the first impression, right? And if you already see, okay, it looks weird, then you know how the rest might look like. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
And I mean, again, if I mean, of course, we do look at the CV, but if you send any type of like ideally a game, but also, I don't know, some source code or maybe a game design document you wrote. I will always look more at those than at the CV, because that's just like a random list of stuff. And even if you worked at, I don't know, Ubisoft, I don't know what you did there. I don't know if it was good. Just show me actual examples of your work.
Yeah, yeah. So actual examples of the work are always more valuable because then you can really see, okay, what happened there instead of just
Yeah.
like a position, which yeah doesn't really say what you did because it can be different at every like company, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, also, people are often shy about the games they made in university because they are not that good, or maybe they didn't know what they know now. But I mean, I like the people on the other side, like the people who are looking to employ you, they know that too. I mean, we've also made games that we now know were not ideal, but just send them, tell us, this is what I made in my second semester of university, and I like this about it. I was involved in that part. I know that, I don't know, the health system isn't that good. I would do it different right now, and then just send it, because that way we have something we can look at. We know what you think about it now. You put it in a perspective, and it's totally fine if it's not a perfect game.
Perfect. Okay, guys, so send in your games. Be brave. Yeah, be brave
Yes,
and just send in your work. Because, yeah, you know it. You know, you have been through the process yourself. So, yeah. Can you
exactly.
maybe explain how the whole employing process works? Like, so you get the application, what happens next? And, like, the application looks good, you're interested. What happens?
Yeah, so we would contact the person who sent it. Um, if we're talking post COVID and post pandemic or pre-pandemic, we would invite them to come to the studio to spend, I don't know, maybe something between, I don't know, 1 to 2 to 3 hours at our office, where we will first have just a quick chat and ask them questions, just to see like stuff like, have you worked in teams before? What did you do? How did you coordinate your project management? How do you work under pressure? Just some sort of questions. Also, of course, the applicant will have the chance to ask some questions to us, get to know everyone that's in the office. And then, depending on the position, we will have like 2 to 4 smaller tasks to just test out to see if they are able to do the things we need them to do. Especially like we have this whole kind of complex system that we put on top of Unity, and we just need to see if that's something that people will be able to work with. And then you can go home, and then we will discuss it. We will like between us, we will see if it's a great fit, and then we'll contact the people again and tell them, and basically either tell them that it won't work, or send them like an offer that they can then think about.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that
And
that
I
sounds
mean,
nice. Yeah.
during COVID, we had a similar process. We did the talk via Skype or Discord or whatever, and then after the talk, would have a discussion between us if it makes sense to send over some task for the people, because it's harder to do the task that we have over Skype or over Discord. And then we will also, like, if we think, okay, we see potential there, we will send over some sort of task to try out, and then the rest is the same.
Okay. How so like for the people who want to apply, what would you say? How can they prepare themselves the best for such a day of trial? How can they prepare themselves?
Um, I mean, of course, it's great if we see that they took interest in the company. They know kind of what we're doing. They maybe have questions prepared for us. Ideally, you've checked out games of the company if they're available. That's always yeah, that always makes a good impression. And then I would say, at least for us, the questions that we ask are not like too out there. They're the ones that you would expect if you go to an interview. So maybe think about what you've done in the past, because we will ask questions like, what was a project that you really liked, that you worked on? What did you do there? Like, just reflect a bit on your prior experience to be sure that if you get a question like that, you have something in memory that you can just explain. And also, I mean, know about your strength, know about your weakness, be able to like to present yourself a bit. And yeah, that's it, I would say. And I mean, for the task, just it should be something that you should be able to do because it's what you're applying for. So it's not that bad, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Do you think that's something what people can practice before, like with friends or something, if it's the first interview, or like just to go through, or would you just say, okay, prepare it, um,
I
or
think it depends. If you're really nervous about it and if you've never done, like never had an interview situation like that, sure. I mean, I'm sure if you Google like interview questions, there will be a lot of stuff on the internet. So maybe just have a friend ask you some of them, and just kind of get into the whole interview situation a bit.
okay, nice. Yeah, but it sounds like a really nice interview process, because like there are other processes out there, like in big corporates, where you have like assessment centers and like weird questions like, what animal do you think of right now, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so you're very generous, and
I
that's cool.
mean, we have one or two meanish questions. They're
Oh
not
yeah,
really mean. They're just something that you maybe don't expect and that can
that's
catch
nice
you a
though.
bit off
Yeah.
guard, but it's just like to see how people react. They're not really mean. It's just, and that I think again is also in other companies, the questions are not meant to like make you feel bad. They're probably just to see how you react to them. So don't be scared to answer wrongly, because like for our questions that I'm thinking of right now that I will not give away right now, there's not really a wrong answer. We just want to see how you take the question.
Yeah. Okay. So again, here, just be brave and
Yes.
like confident a little bit, and then it should be fine, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. And so you said in the beginning, so you were working in a studio and like making the world a better place. So you're developing serious games. Can you maybe tell us what's the difference between like working in a studio which develops serious games and like maybe other studios?
I will just one point that I just remembered regarding the whole interview
Oh
process.
yeah.
Please, please don't put like a progress bars or like don't put Unity knowledge 5 of 5, or like don't rate your knowledge in areas, because most of the time people who do that are completely off in their self-reflection. Just don't do it. There's no like, I don't know your scale that you put into this when you made it, and I will put my scale on it, and that will probably be different. And it just doesn't tell me anything. If any, it just makes me think they don't know how to judge themselves. So just
Yeah.
stay away from progress bars in applications.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, but that's a
yes.
very good that's a very good advice, because like many times if you look at this examples of CVs, like in the internet, if you're just like browsing for it, they sometimes have this, so it's very good that you
Yeah.
point that out. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if someone studies at school and they learn about Unity and they put 80% proficiency in Unity because all they did at school was work with Unity. I will look at it, and if I ask you one questions about editor scripting or profiling or like higher level topics that will be required if you work in a job that is that's technologically based. There is a different, like, I wouldn't rate myself 80% in Unity, and I work with it every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay away
Yeah.
from progress bars.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's just like, what do we expect, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, then like, yeah, it won't be matched. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, but the serious games, I think I would say for us, it depends if it's a game that we are developing where we just put like for example Rascal's Escape we are working on now. You travel through Europe and you kind of it's an adventure game. You get some input, like you will learn about Europe, but it's not the main focus of the game. So for us, we are just developing an adventure game and we put facts into it. So we have to do like the research and we have to make sure that everything we put in is actually factually true. But from like from a development standpoint, it's close to what other people do. I mean, Assassin's Creed is also historically based, and it's kind of a serious game that way because you learn a lot while playing it. It's a bit different if we, like for some of our projects, we work together with, for example, universities, where we actually, they will do some research. We will have to put that in. We will have to make versions for them that they can then test with their test audience to make studies. And on that part, it's different because we have to talk a lot with the partners. We have to make sure that the there are no bugs in the application or that it works in a study kind of environment. And there is a difference, but for like for other games, yes, we want to make the world a better place with them, but they are games mainly. Like there are games with sprinkled in stuff that will make the world a better place. So on that side, we're I would say the same to other studios, really.
Yeah. And so what would you because like there are a lot of people now listening who would love to get into the industry. So what would you suggest they should do? Because like application is one thing, but how does it like really work? Like if I just finished university, how's like the best way to get into the industry?
Um, Sadly, for me, because I'm not good at it, networking is one thing, like go to the events. If you're still at university or finished it recently and are not like full-time employed yet, volunteer at events. That's a great way to get to know other people in the same place, but also people already working for companies that will remember you. And just yeah go to like if COVID allows it, there's a lot of regional events happening that you can go to. You have all those meetups where you can meet people, and then I don't know, participate in game jams, work on your portfolio, work on games, make sure that you have something that showcases what you can do, that you can send with your applications, because I think the experience is really the important part. It's not that much about which university you went to, but it's really can you show me that you're good at what you want to do?
Okay. And so, what was your like? What would you say helped you a lot? What you like experience, like from the experience when you were a little bit younger? What helped you to get into the industry? Like, were there any points where you say, okay, this really helped me to get into it? Like, was it like playing the games, or like was it more maybe your parents, or like I don't know, something like that?
I think it was the fact that what helped me, I would say, was that I went to a university that wasn't specifically aimed at gaming. It
Oh yeah.
wasn't like a it wasn't like a game focused class, I didn't have like people coming in from game studios every other week giving talks, and I wasn't like my university didn't tell me to go to any events, so I had to do that all by myself because I knew I wanted to get into the industry. I knew that it would be hard to get in the industry, so I did a lot coming from myself. Like I looked for events that I could go to. I checked out game jams. I used my free time to improve what I knew. And I think that gave me a great basis for when I actually started applying for those things, because from my CV, you can see that I really wanted to do that. And I didn't just go to school and tick off some boxes to then just be done and here. And yeah, now it's the company's turn to like find me, but it showed that I really wanted this. And I think that's what would really help me.
So like there was a lot of engagement from your side
Yes.
to really get into it. So, but like what exactly did you do? So you said you were looking for events by yourself. Like, did you just check out the internet? How do you actually do it? Or like were you
I
on
mean,
social media and trying to get into the different developer?
I'm
Yeah,
I'm not even sure if you can compare my situation to the one that we have right now, because so much has changed. There's so
yeah.
much more that you can do right now. For me, I back in I think 2015 or 16, I'm not really sure. I bought tickets for the Entwickler Prize and the summit
Okay.
that was before, and went there and yeah, just saw if there were people that maybe I could talk to and maybe get to know like a bit more of the regional industry and see. I mean, it didn't work out that well for me because, as I said, networking is not my strong suit, and there were so many people that already knew each other, talking to each other, that I had a hard time like
Oh,
going in. So in the end,
yeah.
for me, it just was sending applications and seeing what comes back. And I think as a programmer, it's a bit easier to get a position than maybe as a game designer, where there's just more of them and less positions open. Um, but yeah, so I mean, today you can just open like Discord or any social media, and there's so much events happening, so many communities that you can join that weren't there when I first started looking at it. So I think Discord would be the place where I would start looking nowadays if I had to start over again.
Do you have any like servers which you would say, okay, please go there, this would be a good opportunity, or like any events right now which you would recommend to the viewers to check them out?
Yeah, I mean, server-wise for me, it would be the FemDev Discord server that I really like. I mean, it's mainly for females, obviously,
Yeah,
but
why not?
that's my situation. And then event-wise, I would say just any of the like bigger ones, and try to go there as a volunteer. For example, Gamescom or DevCom, I know that they have like a really great community in the volunteering space, and just go from there.
Yeah. And I think because like you said, yeah, like networking was not your strong suit, but anyway, you also said you learned a lot just from being there because you see how people behave, what are the topics, and what is important. Or yeah, like you're not there, but if you there, you already get like the feeling of being at
Yeah.
least in the industry. And I think this is also something what is really important and helps you to be maybe more relaxed or brave if you're in a real interview situation or if you want to get into it, right?
Yes, definitely.
So maybe what was your first game which you developed? When did that start?
Well, I actually started developing games in university. I Because somehow when I was younger, I thought I couldn't do it because I was kind of afraid of the whole visual aspect of it. So
Oh.
I would say it was the platformer that I did at university. Um, but I did start developing like websites and learn a bit about coding even before that. But those were just like I made the website for the local bookstore that I did my
Oh,
internship when I was 15 or something.
that's cool.
Um, But yeah, then university games and then game jams mainly.
Okay. So how many times did you attend like game jams during the time? Like was it, I don't know, like every second month, or like how many times have you?
I would say like 3 to 5 per year. Some of them online, some of them like the Global Game Jam that were on site. I went to Inner Games in Hamburg once for it. That was really nice. And then some of them online on my own, some of them online with friends. The FemDev also has a game jam. Ideally every year. With COVID, it didn't happen, and then the one they did, I wasn't able to, but that was on site. The one I went to, those are always really nice. And also, if they're on site, it's a great chance to meet new people and to get into the industry. And I think to me, game jams are a bit easier than events because you have a topic to talk about already, and you can like get a group that has the same interests, wants to make a game together, and then you just work on it together, and that's a good um, yeah, great thing to get to know people, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Actually, we have a question from the chat. The thing is,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of blind, so I need to like change the spot to be able to read it. So I just will stand up and try to read the question. Yeah, and the question is, what would be a good alternative to bars and percentages on the resume? Ah, okay. Okay, so what would be like, what would you put instead of the leveling of skills?
I mean, if it's you could theoretically just put like the software or the like if it's programming, the language that you've used, and just put them like put the one you're the most proficient with on top. Maybe like in your resume, write a bit about what you did there. Um, it just don't like if I read your resume and I check out the like maybe the game or the stuff you send with it, I will probably get an understanding of how well you know it, the way that I need to know about it. And I don't, you just don't really need to quantify it at all. Just if you think you're really good at Unity, you shine there, you would give yourself an 80% there. Just put it on top, and in your resume, write a bit about the stuff you did in Unity and what you feel comfortable with.
Okay, nice. So again, here experience is the key, right? Like to really like point out the detailed experience you had with the technology. So
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Yeah, we have a thanks from, from the chat. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have any other advice for like people who apply to you? Like any further?
I think I covered most of it. The only like general thing I would say is, and I know especially women tend to not do this. If you see a position that you're really interested in and that you think you would be good at, but you don't meet like one or two of the things that are listed there as required or as additional, this would be nice things, still apply, still send your application. Let the company decide if you're good enough, and don't decide for yourself, because a lot of people tend to say, no, I don't qualify, I will not send it. But it's kind of not your choice. If you want the position, just send the application and let the company decide if you're good enough for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. So maybe like one last question: what positions are open? Like, if I want to work with you, what yeah, what can I apply for?
We currently don't have any open positions there.
Oh, yeah.
What you can always like if you need to do an internship for university, or if you like want to get into it a bit, you can always send your applications. And if we have the capacity and if it's a fit, we will answer you, and you might be lucky that it just fits at that moment. and we will do some like internal, like we have a lot of stuff we need to finish this year that we will do in the setup that we now have. But then once the new year comes, we will like kind of restructure a bit, like, and see what do we want to do this year, what kind of people do we need in addition to those that we have. So maybe keep an eye out on our website at the beginning of next year, because maybe there might be some open positions then. And with
Okay.
internships, just yeah, just send us your application and we'll have a look at them.
Nice, nice. Thank you very much for the talk. And yeah, if you have any comments or anything, what you want to yeah, get to, like, what to say to our viewers and listeners, now it's the time to say it.
Well, I would just say if you want to work in the games industry, just keep at it, improve yourself, send those applications, and yeah, just don't get discouraged, and you can do it.